What's up, my reseller friends? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sabrina. I thrift to resell on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. Today I have a come ship with me video, so I'm going to go ahead and do my shipping. I'm going to invite you along. We'll do some reselling talk along the way. And I'm also going to tell you a story about something very frustrating that happened to me with something I sold on Mercari, hoping that you can learn from my mistakes. Let's jump into it. So I'm going to start off by telling you about the whole Mercari situation. So I sold some vintage Doc Martens, and I actually did think about keeping them for a minute because they were my size and I love Doc Martens. So I did try them on. I walked around with them, wearing them for a little bit, ultimately decided no, I'm not going to keep them. I'm going to sell them. I ended up listing them for about $90 plus shipping, which would be a very good sale, right? Well, I sold them on Mercari for full price. I was super stoked. The buyer sent me a private message just confirming that there was no dry rot on the shoes. I said no dry rot, ship them out. Well, the day that the buyer received them, I did get a return opened on Mercari, which is crazy to me because the last time I got a return open on Mercari was pre-COVID, and Mercari just totally denied the return. So I've never had to do any return on Mercari. So basically the return was for the Doc Martens. The buyer said that there was dry rot in the shoes, even though I said there wasn't. And she uploaded like tons of pictures showing like an extreme amount of dry rot on these shoes. And my first reaction was like, BS, right? I was just like, no. I tried those shoes on myself. I walked around in them. They were completely fine. But I had to go by what my rule is that I set for myself, where I always have to give the buyer the benefit of the doubt. So I was like, okay, well, I responded to it. So when you get a return open like that on Mercari, like with the buyer saying that the item wasn't as described, what happens is that Mercari gives you a chance to explain your side of it, and they won't show the buyer. It's just for Mercari to see. So I did just write in the comments, I said, I'm not sure if these are my shoes because they did not look like that when I shipped them out, but I will still allow the return so that I can take a look. And then after that, of course, Mercari approved the return. I received them in last night. When I saw the package arrive, I just got a little pit in my stomach, and I'm just like, man, I don't want to be upset. I'm afraid I'm going to open it up and I'm going to see these are not my shoes, and then I'm going to be upset, and then I'm going to have a bad night. Well, I was just like, well, I got the package, like I have to look, like otherwise I'm just gonna keep thinking about it. So I opened it up, I examined the shoes, tons of dry rot in them. I'll show you. Absolutely, like it was all over inside the box too, like everywhere. Definitely did not, it's like dripping everywhere as we speak right now. Those are going straight in the trash. The only reason why they're not in the trash right now is because I wanted to show you the video, but I'm just throwing them away. And I was just like, whoa, these shoes did not look like this when I sent them out. So I was just like, I went and pulled out my pictures from the listing, and I was just examining like, okay, like there's like one part of a font that was kind of faded right here. You know, the handle was kind of like turned in a little bit, like just trying to find like any little thing on the shoe to try to confirm, to make sure that they were mine. And I found about 5 things on the shoes that confirmed that they were indeed 100% my shoes. So, lesson. Just because you don't see the dry rot doesn't mean they're not there. Be very careful when you purchase vintage shoes. I'm going to be very careful for now on moving forward. It's very possible that it just wasn't showing at first when I had the shoes. Maybe in shipping they got like bounced around a bit, and maybe that just like made it loose, right? Or there was like really bad like weather conditions the last couple weeks, especially where I live. It's been really hot. So I don't know if weather had anything contribute to that, but something happened between the moment I shipped it to the buyer. She received it, tried them on. Maybe because she was aware a dry rot problem. So maybe she walked around in them for like a couple of hours just to see, because I think sometimes they just like, if a shoe has just been sitting there for a long time, not being used, I think that they like have the dry rot underneath them, but it doesn't really start breaking up and stuff once they've been like moved around and stuff like that. So there's so many possibilities of what could have set it up where I didn't notice it at first when I shipped it. So this was a very big lesson for me. And I honestly don't know what's ended up happening with like Mercari. I'm sure if I go and I search and download the form of like my finances and stuff, I could figure it out. I don't know if Mercari covered it for me and they just gave the buyer a label to send it back, or if they were taking it from my funds. I'm sure I could figure that out if I really wanted to, but I feel like worst case scenario, I lost the cost of shipping there and the cost of shipping back, which it was $8, which would have been a total of $16. So worst case scenario, I lost $16 on this. And you know, I could sit here and I could be mad at myself. I could be mad at the buyer, you know, I could be letting it like really affect me and like bother me. But at the end of the day, guys, it's just $16. It's a bummer that I didn't get my $90 for these shoes like I thought I was gonna get. So that really sucks because I was really excited when I got that sale. But this is just something as resellers that I think that a lot of resellers don't mentally prepare themselves for this kind of stuff, because we are sold through social media this like awesome like freedom of like reselling online, where we create our own rules, you know, we're our own business person, you know, like no one can tell us what to do. And we get really upset when something happens. We're quick to blame the buyers and we just don't want to take accountability. And I think that needs to change in our community, and we need to be encouraging one another to be taking accountability and not just always assume that the buyer is the one at fault. Like, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But then at the same time, we also have to have grace for ourselves. Mistakes happen, and it's always going to be a learning curve. Like, even with my new job that I started, sometimes I'm really hard on myself because I want to be perfect and I want to make everybody proud. And then whenever I fall short, or it's like I forget to do something, or I didn't realize I needed to do something, like I just get really upset with myself, like more than I probably should, when nobody else in the office is upset with me. It's just me. And it's like, I think it's just important just to always have like be forgiving towards ourselves, you know, it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. But the important thing is that we learn from it, because every mistake we learn is an opportunity to learn something. All right, so I'm done talking about that. Those shoes are going straight in the trash. That was all my fault. As soon as I realized those were definitely my shoes and the buyer is like not at fault whatsoever, I felt really guilty about it, and I gave them their refund. I accepted the return as quickly as possible. And then I didn't have to be upset because I realized, it was just on me. Mistakes happen, no big deal. We move forward, we learn from it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my eBay shipping. So I sold a DVD. It's the Wiggles. So I always buy Wiggles if I can find them for cheap, because they sell very quickly. That's what I like about them. They're not huge money makers. They normally sell between like $7 to $15 plus shipping. And that's what I sold this one for, was like $7. But it sold very quickly after just being listed for like a day. And DVDs for me are like, it's just like a matter of seconds to list them, basically. Like, it really doesn't take much time. I just throw them in one of these mailers too when they're ready to ship. You can ship them for cheap, and it's just it's easy. So just remember the Wiggles. These ones are fast sellers. I had someone comment on one of my videos the other day. I didn't respond. I feel so bad because it was just something I had to think about. They asked me, what are good DVDs to sell? And honestly, like, I don't know how to respond to that in just a simple, you know, response on a YouTube video, because I feel like it needs like a whole like video for itself, because, you know, it's constantly changing what sells. And honestly, I really don't even know that well anymore. Like, you just gotta, it's like a trial and error type of thing, right? I guess just like a good rule of thumb is, if you see something and you know that it's available on streaming, or it's easy to download or cheap to download, then, you know, just leave it. Or if it's like a super popular movie that like you know, everybody knows. Like, you look for things that aren't as like common, right? Whenever you see something like that, just look it up. And I always try to look for media that's sealed as well, because some people like to collect those as just like it's sealed, so they want it as like a collector's item, not necessarily because they want to watch it. All right, and then with media as well, anything that weighs under 4 ounces, I don't ship medium mail because it's cheaper to ship it Ground Advantage. So if I were to ship this one medium mail, it would cost me $4.63 to ship it, but shipping it Ground Advantage only costs $4.02. And now it's got insurance and it'll get to the buyer faster. So that's kind of like a no-brainer. All right, next item is a pair of vintage skateboarding shoes. These were the shoes that the boys were wearing when I was in high school. I'm gonna say the name of these shoes wrong because I don't even know how to say them. I'm not even gonna try to butcher it because you guys are gonna laugh at me. So that's the brand. Whoop. There you go. These are vintage shoe as well, but there's definitely no dry rot in these. I could tell. And these are from like the early 2000s, not the early 90s like those other shoes. So this is like a 10-year difference here. But yeah, these ones are gonna be good. So another lesson with these shoes is when I first listed these, I had them listed for $100 or best offer, and somebody kept trying to get them for $60. And I just didn't want to go that low. So I kept like trying to counter. And then I think that the person even messaged me and was like, you know, the reason why I'm buying these shoes is because I want to do an art project with them and keep them on display. And it's going to cost them more money to buy the supplies to make the project. So that's why he was hoping to get it cheaper. And I held out. And then the shoes never sold. So I listed it in May. So May, June, July, August, September. So they've been listed for 5 months and they never sold. And then I got an offer again for $60 last night. And I think it may be the same person. I'm not sure. And a part of me was like, I think I'm embarrassed to accept it, because then it's like, it's kind of like my pride is saying that like I've accepted like defeat, like fine, you can have it for 60. But then I was just like, you can't have a successful business and have a lot of pride at the same time. I'm gonna repeat that. You can't have a successful business and have a lot of pride at the same time. So I'm like, you know, it's been listed for 5 months. I paid, I think, $5 for these shoes at a yard sale. Sell the freaking shoes, Sabrina. So that's what I ended up doing. These ones I am shipping in a box. I didn't have a box the right size, so I did use this little tool. I have it linked in my Amazon affiliates link that's in the description. Where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. So you use this and you can adjust it, and you just use it to like to cut along the box so that you can resize your box. This thing is amazing. So I am resizing this box simply because the bigger the box, the more you're charged for shipping, right? So I'm trying to keep the size of this box down. So that's like my reasoning for that. And because this is a 5 and below box, I am going to use my eBay tape on it. Now that's not something that anyone has to do. It doesn't matter. You can use recycled boxes. Nobody really cares. I have never once, as long as I've been reselling, have I gotten a complaint about reusing a box. don't worry about it, don't stress about it. But it's just something in me where I've ordered something online before, like on eBay. This is just an example. I've ordered something on eBay, went on my porch and saw a Target box, and I'm like, what the heck did I order from Target? And then like I'm just like thinking, and then I open, I'm like, oh, this was something I ordered on eBay. And it's like obviously I wasn't upset with the seller for doing that. It didn't matter. It's just not a good way to start like the experience of like receiving the item. So I just want the buyer just to like have like a good overall experience, even though it really isn't that big of a deal. Most people don't care, but it's just something within me that I like to do. Someone's gonna get a piece of pink hair. And I'm just putting this extra tape here to cover up this old label. I'll add a little bit of extra back here too. All right, that looks good. I have a feeling I'm gonna lose out on shipping a little bit here. Okay, so it weighs 3 pounds. Slightly over 3 pounds, but I'm gonna be bad here and just round it down to 3. You're not supposed to do that, but whatever. And the dimensions of the box, I do have the wrong size dimension in here, so I know it's probably gonna bring it up. 14 by 6 by 11. 14, 6, 11. I don't think it brought it up. Oh, I know why. It's because it's shipping to California, and I live in California. So with that said, it's fine. I actually charge $9.99 for shipping, and it's only costing me $8.51 to ship. However, if this was going to New York or somewhere on the East Coast, this probably would have cost me like $13 to ship, and I would have lost money on it. So yeah, if I wanted to upgrade this one to priority mail, it would cost $9.85. So it would cost about $1 and some cents more, but I'm going to keep it at the ground advantage. But if I didn't have like a good size box on hand to ship it in, but I had the priority mail boxes, it might not have been a bad idea to ship it priority mail. So, and just little things like that to think about. But most of the time, everything just goes out ground advantage for me. Next item is a Luigi from Mario Brothers beanie. It's just a little beanie. I had it listed for $10 or plus shipping, best offer. And someone sent me an offer for $8 and I took it. This is probably going to be part of a Halloween costume, I'm assuming. I listed it in May, so same time that I listed those shoes. And it finally sold. I know I got this at a yard sale. I don't remember how much I spent on it, but I believe it was one of those situations where it was bundled in with a bunch of other stuff, and it probably just like cost me like quarters. Oh, I just got a sale. Okay. Oh, I didn't even check. Yeah, it weighs only 2.5 ounces, so it's going to cost me $4.02 to ship. I charged the buyer $4.36. Next item is a Nike Air backpack. It's like a sling crossbody one because it only has like a single strap. It did have some flaws on it, like just like little wear on the bottom. I did disclose that in the listing. Sold for $20 plus shipping, and it sold very quickly. I only had this listed for about a week and a half, I think. So how I'm going to ship it is I'm going to wrap it up in some packaging paper. And then I'm gonna put it in one of my oversized poly bags. This is always how I ship backpacks. This one actually weighs under a pound. It weighs, actually it weighs 1 pound. It weighs 1 pound. So if I would have shipped that in a box, it would have been way over a pound. I would have had to put 2 pounds. So it's costing me $8 to ship it. Actually, let me check the dimensions. Once you go over a pound, it's like really important that you put in the right dimensions. So I have a 16 by 14. Oh, that might actually bring it up. Let's see. 16 by 14. No, I kept it the same. Yeah, so this is going to cost me $8.44 to ship. If I would have shipped this in a box, or if I would have added any extra more weight to it, it would have cost $9.17, so a little less than $1 more. And trust me, that dollar, that 50 cents, that 75 cents here and there, that adds up. Someone's putting their trash cans out. I'm too embarrassed to talk loud because they're gonna know I'm filming a YouTube video and I'm gonna be so embarrassed. Are they gone? All right, next item is a pair of Vans. These ones sold, these are a men's size 10, and they sold for $30 plus the cost of shipping. So with these shoes, I know a lot of resellers like to ship their shoes in like a bubble poly bag. I don't. Unless it's like a really cheap pair of shoes and they're small, I'll wrap them in cardboard and then put them in a poly bag. But I like shipping my shoes in boxes. I don't know, maybe it's not necessary, but it's just, it makes me feel better. So I did a Frankenstein this box. This is one of the eBay boxes that's an 8x8x8, but I cut around the sides and I just like Frankenstein it to be this size. I would actually love it if eBay just naturally made one that was like this, that was more longer but thinner on the sides. Oh gosh, I would order those. Because like it seems like it's like they do have one that's kind of like that, but it's just not skinny enough. It's still a little bit longer. I forget what size that one is. But yeah, I like this size. So yeah, this is how I'm gonna ship the shoes. I'm gonna wrap them. Packaging paper. 12 by 4 by 8. eBay 12 by 4 by 8 boxes. I would love it if you did that. Anyways, I charged $11.99 to ship these shoes and it's costing me $8.05 to ship. It's going to Washington, which isn't too far, so that's why. If this was going further, then it would cost more. Okay. All right, so this was the shirt that I sold right now as I was filming. It is a little boy's shirt. It's a Falcon shirt, but it's Hot Wheels. So it's Falcon for Hot Wheels, and it's new with tags. I got this at a thrift store. I think I paid $2 for it, and it sold for $20 plus $4.36 for shipping, and I listed this in September, so it was a quick sale. I always look for like any sort of like brand that's like a brand collaborating with something. So like Valcom doing a line of Hot Wheels t-shirts for kids, or like one of my favorites is Disney for Vans, or like any sort of like van shoes that are like a collab with like a cartoon or a movie, some sort of like pop culture thing. Those I always look into. I actually have some Vans Peanuts. You can see them right here. I haven't looked up comps on these ones yet, or I haven't like cleaned them up or anything, but they're Van shoes and they're Peanuts. So I feel like those ones will do good because I've always had good luck selling anything with peanuts on them. All right. And it cost me $4.36 to ship, which is exactly what I charged the buyer. All right, now that concludes eBay. Now I have one Mercari sale, one Poshmark sale. Should we talk about the fact that Poshmark made some changes with their fees? Actually, I'm not really going to talk about it. I'll briefly talk about it because I don't really understand it. I know if I like put some effort into trying to understand it, like if I watched a video, because I know there's some YouTube videos out there that explain it, but I just don't feel like it. All I know is that we get charged less fees now and the buyer has to pay more fees. Kind of similar to what Mercari did, not as extreme, but kind of like the same type of thing, right? But honestly, guys, I've been feeling like I want to make a whole video about this, but I don't know if I have like a whole video worth of things to say. But I compared my Mercari sales from like that first quarter that the changes happened, comparing it to the year before, and it's like it turned out to like be the same. Like I haven't really it seems like sales have dropped a bit, but sales dropped on eBay and Poshmark too. I mean, yeah, Poshmark and eBay as well. So I should just expect the sales were going to drop, but yet after, you know, you minus fees and shipping costs and all that kind of stuff, like any sort of like expense you would add to that, I pretty much ended up, even though I had less sales, I ended up with like the same profit. So honestly, it seems like at the end of the day, the whole Mercari change thing turned out to be a good thing. Who would have guessed? I mean, I made a whole video saying that I thought it was awful. So yeah, I'm not going to complain about the Poshmark thing. I'm just going to let it ride. And I'm going to be more open to accepting change in life. I think we'll be a lot happier as a society if we could just embrace change. So yeah, that's my take on that. I'm not going to talk anymore about it. It's just, it is what it is. All right, so on Mercari, I sold this Ninja Turtle Halloween costume. I sold this one on eBay. Somebody returned it. I do not offer I offer free returns on almost everything except for Halloween costumes and items that have really expensive shipping costs, especially electronics. I feel like people like, oh, do I really want to go down this route of like changing the subject in the video? I'm just gonna talk about it really quickly. So like, for example, I was selling like some TV stands and I feel like people were buying my TV stand, not quite sure if it was gonna work or not, but because of the fact that I had free returns, they're like, oh, it's okay, we'll just buy it because if it doesn't work out, we'll just send it back and we don't have to pay for shipping. But then it's like, I don't know, it's just things that I feel like people could do that with. Like, you just gotta use your best judgment. I don't like to have free returns on it. So Halloween costumes are one of those things. I had buyer pays return. Someone bought this, they said it didn't fit, they returned it, they paid for the cost of shipping to send it back. I relisted it and it sold within a couple of days of relisting it. Not a big deal. I wish that And I'm not trying to like step on toes here or like offend anybody who has like different business policies, but I just really recommend that you do think about having some sort of return policy on your eBay store. I feel like it makes buyers feel more trusted in purchasing from you. And even if they have no intent in returning something, it at least makes them feel comfortable and good to purchase from you, knowing that they have that option. I have free returns on almost everything, and I don't get a lot of returns. So, and buyers can force returns if they really want to. And then it ends up just hurting your matrix score or whatever you want to call it. So I just find it to be a better business thing to just give your buyers a good return policy. I did look up on Google stats of like what people look for when they're buying online, and the number one thing was a good return policy. Just saying. You can take it as whatever you want to take it as, but at the end of the day, these are just facts. All right, so that's that. And then my Poshmark sale is a very small. I made $5 off of this. It's a Ralph Lauren button-up shirt. There's nothing special about this one. So even after I listed it, I was like, this probably wasn't worth picking up. I think this is one of the things that, like, I was at a yard sale. I was just grabbing a bunch of clothes because they were like dirt cheap. And it was just one of those situations. And since I already had it like in like the rotation of getting it listed and taking pictures and stuff, I just did it and I listed it, and it's fine. Ultimately, I probably wouldn't pick up those shirts anymore unless they had a really unique print or there was just something more special about it. But I did make $5. All right, so that's going to be it for today. This video ended up going a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I guess that's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful, helpful in any way at all. Please like, subscribe, do all those nice things that help my channel to help other people find my channel as well. I appreciate you all so much. God is good, and never forget that when you thrift upon a star, all your dreams will come true. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.